In this presentation, I will compare and contrast the two learning theories of Pavlov's classical conditioning and Skinner's operant conditioning. Pavlov shows us that with classical conditioning, learning can affect what we once thought to be voluntary, reflexive behavior. Page 102 of our text explains classical conditioning as a neutral stimulus, such as a bell, and that at first prompts no response, then becomes paired with an unconditional stimulus, such as meat, and gains the power of the stimulus to cause a response, such as salivation. You want to go? Dogs naturally want to play and run. When I first bought the ball and chuck it, they were neutral stimuli for my dog. He had never seen them before and didn't know what they did. He has now learned through classical conditioning that when I get the chuck it out, he gets to go play, making it a conditioned stimuli. Skinner believed, on the other hand, that reflexive behaviors only account for a small percentage of actions. Operant conditioning focuses on the relationship between one's behavior and the use of pleasant and unpleasant consequences to one's actions. Skinner claims that operant behavior occurs in the absence of any unconditional stimuli. Hobbs, sweetness. Sweetness. Operant conditioning is about making an association between a voluntary behavior and a consequence. You see this with my dogs when they sit voluntarily before they are told to sit, because they have learned through operant conditioning that they will be rewarded once they do. Operant conditioning and classical conditioning are similar in that with both you are attempting to increase the probability of a desired response, the conditioned response, in the presence of a stimulus. In classical conditioning, the stimulus automatically triggers an involuntary response. I did not teach my dog to get excited when he sees his ball, he just does. In operant conditioning, the response is voluntary and is followed by the stimulus being a reward or punishment. I taught my dogs through repetition that if they sit, they will get a treat. Also, classical conditioning is passive on the part of the learner, while operant conditioning requires the learner to actively participate and perform some type of action in order to be rewarded or punished. In summary, classical conditioning, as proposed by Pavlov, involves placing a neutral signal before a reflex and focuses on involuntary automatic behaviors. Operant conditioning, first proposed by B.F. Skinner, involves applying reinforcements or punishments after a behavior to focus on strengthening or weakening voluntary behaviors.